All right, we're here. We're ready to go on a Friday on the live stream on top of that. So we got about 2 or 3 minutes, right? Brick Home Studio today. Who can hear me? How we sounding? You ready, Ty, for the sound check? 1, 2, 3. Check, check. How we doing? Get the brick backdrop going. Loud and clear. I like to hear that. All right, it's getting Michael Penix time, man. Michael Penix time. What do you think? Michael Penix, number 13. Everyone's saying it. That hair's looking wild today. Get that hair going. All right. All right, Modelo Fridays, man. I'm out of here, man. Good weekend coming up. Have a bucket of Modelo's at 2. Augie, shout out from the Bay Area. Newark, California. Great place. All right, there it is. I can see everybody on the live chat on even my phone. We've come a long way with this thing. Appreciate everybody who's in there, man. Thank you. Think of what this is going to look like this year, man. It's going to be good. Yep. The great JT with you on a Modelo Friday as we wrap up the week here on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Raider Nation Radio, 9:20 a.m. and on that glorious Raiders mobile app. Hope everyone's doing great today. Have a great weekend in advance. Windy weather here in Las Vegas today, man. When the wind kicks up, it kicks up fast and furious out here, but the weather looks decent heading into the weekend. There was an earthquake in New York, New Jersey today. How did I know that? I was up. My phone started blowing up from my family and friends who live back east, and they felt it. That was a real earthquake. Again, we're used to it out west. I've been to several of them, They're not used to it back east, and they're not used to it that way. And that was a waiver, 20 seconds for some. So for those who are listening to us back east, get in the chat. We're live on YouTube, JT the Brick YT. If you want to jump in there, raise your hand, beep your horn if you experienced the earthquake today. And a lot of us out here on the left coast, not myself, because I don't mock natural disasters. I don't laugh at tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes, and all that. That's pretty weird if you do. A lot of people out west are saying, hey, man, what are you worried about? We have that all the time. Well, they don't have that all the time. They don't have that. My sister in upstate New York and New Paltz, New York, they don't have earthquakes, and they had one today. So a big day today with that. That was breaking news earlier today. We have a mock draft gentleman coming up from our lads, one of my favorites, David Syverston's going to join us here in about 15 minutes. Man, Michael Penix. Did we do a lot of Michael Penix this week or what? And I got a couple of guests that are going to be joining us coming up next week on all of that. So we got a busy show lined up today. And if you want to jump in on Friday and talk about the Raiders, go ahead and do this. There's about 4 to 6 weeks a year where it's slow with Raiders content. And that's this, other than predicting the draft, which is completely guessing. And then in the summertime, when the coaches and the wives and the players take off for a couple of weeks, and then we're good. We're good to go. I'll have the schedule here in front of me. We'll know who we're playing when. We know the opponents, but we'll know when. We'll count down to OTAs and training camps and all that. And then every day we won't be reaching. I won't be talking about players who I think might be here at the draft who never, ever are going to be here. To me, that is a waste of time. To me, the priority in which we think we do a pretty good job is to talk about the Raiders' first pick. After that, we have no idea what's going to happen. We don't even know what's going to happen with the first pick, but that's kind of the way I do the mock drafts, looking for your first-round pick, and that's what I'll lead with the monologue, brought to you by PT's Best Happy Hour in town. Head on out to Sierra Gold, Sean Patrick's, the SG Bar, any of the 64-plus taverns here in the Valley. Happy hour, midnight to 2 a.m., 5 to 7, half-price drinks. So as we get going here, I want to make this clear on Michael Penix Jr. We have been at the forefront of covering this story. Okay, we've been at the forefront knowing that this was a possibility ever since I attended live in person with Lincoln Kennedy, because he was honored there. We were there for the Pac-12 championship game. It was Michael Penix versus Bo Nix in the last ever Pac-12 game at Allegiant Stadium. Antonio Pierce was at the game. I came on right after that show on Monday and said that Penix or Bo Nix could be Raiders because they look good. They're big names. They've played a lot of snaps. They played at the highest level. And looking for quarterbacks here, and the Raiders are in the hunt to get a quarterback. Now, at the time, I didn't think they'd get either one of them because I have been led to believe, because of the relationship with Antonio Pierce and Jaden Daniels and the fact that I want a running quarterback, and I would love Jaden Daniels. That's always been my pie-in-the-sky pick. Best case scenario for me would be Jaden Daniels in a trade-up scenario. But after watching mock drafts here over the last couple of weeks, and I'm really just I'm totally watching NFL Network every day. They have Path to the Draft. They have a bunch of good shows that are there, and all those shows combined really don't know. They don't think the Raiders can move up to 2. They don't, and that's okay because it's hard to do that. They're not going to predict that the Raiders trade up to 2. But what fascinates me is everybody thinks the Vikings are going to trade up to 4, and they won't put us in that scenario. No one's even putting us in a scenario to trading up to number 4 with Arizona to get a quarterback. And I think I know why. I think it's because the media, including myself, has been led to believe that Jaden Daniels would be the perfect Raider quarterback. I'm led to believe by that. You are. A lot of people I talk to want Jaden Daniels because he's fast, he's electric, he can run, he can make every throw. He put up the greatest Heisman numbers of all time when you add up the running and the throwing and what he was able to do. And it feels like a good fit. He was at the cigar party. He was in the locker room at the cigar party. Wouldn't you like to be in the locker room at the cigar party? Hopefully we have more cigar parties this year. So the kid looks like a natural fit, dating back to Antonio Pierce at ASU and having a relationship with him now. But I don't know if we can get him. So I'm going to stick with, for the next 2 weeks, that in my mind, I'm hoping that we get him. I know what it's going to cost. It's going to be really expensive. I know what expensive items cost. I'm not afraid of expensive items when you can afford them. Or there are times where you take out money from the bank. You take out a loan. You take out a mortgage. You do something. This would be the equivalent of the Raiders taking out a 3-year mortgage on Jaden Daniels if they want him. You can get him, but you got to take out a 3-year mortgage, which is mean you're going to mortgage the next 3 drafts or 2 drafts on Jaden Daniels. I'd do it, but I don't know if anybody else wants to be a dance partner. That would be 2 teams. That would be the Washington Commanders and it would be the New England Patriots, because I don't think Jaden Daniels is going to go number 1 overall. I don't see it that way. So after that, it was, well, why can't we trade up and get this J.J. McCarthy? Ooh, don't piss off Raider fans and pick a player they don't like. They didn't like Josh McDaniels. They didn't like Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm sensing they don't want J.J. McCarthy. And the one thing we learned in the noon to 2 time slot, don't ever go against the Raider fans with players who have worn different jerseys or might want to come here with a new culture, might want to try something new. Do not do that with Raider Nation, even though we got Jim Plunkett when he was down on his luck, even though we got Jeff Hostetler after he won his biggest game with the Giants, not the Raiders, after we got a guy named Rich Gannon, which I was here for and no one wanted. Now every Raider fan wants the best of the best. They want a Lamborghini. They want a Ferrari. They want a can't miss. And I'm with you. I'm a season ticket holder, man. I want Jaden Daniels, man. I want to be sitting in my seats in 132, Twitch Club with a cerveza in my hand going, man, look at that kid run. It was 3rd and 13, and he ran for 28 yards, picked up a first down, and the crowd goes crazy. But I got Minshew Mania. I got Aiden O'Connell. They're pretty good. They've earned their spot here, and we don't know who we're going to get. So this was the week that all of a sudden the light bulb went off at NFL Network in Los Angeles, Fox Sports 1 in L.A., Bristol, Connecticut, ESPN, where they're now developing actors instead of sports anchors. They're developing actors. Everybody's talking about Michael Penix Jr. Well, why is that? Because we got nothing else to talk about. All we're doing is mocking drafts, pretending we know what we're talking about. I'm putting guys on the radio who know what they're talking about and have mock drafts. And now all the mocks are leaning towards Michael Penix Jr. because all the quarterbacks, poof, will be gone by 13. Fact, not fiction. Even Maurice Jones-Drew, former Raider, had 6 quarterbacks gone. 6 quarterbacks gone by the time the Raiders pick and get one at 13. 6. Well, what about the 3 great wide receivers? What about the 3 great tackles? What about the edge rushers? No. Everybody get your quarterback now. It's like it's a sale that's going on. Get your quarterback now and line up your money, man. Get your chips and put them there and talk to your banker and talk to your mortgage broker. And you better be ready to mortgage because these guys are only going for a hemorrhaging price between the picks 1, 2, and 3. So last week was the emergence of J.J. McCarthy. It's a conspiracy theory of Jim Harbaugh telling everybody, oh, he's the greatest I've ever seen. Really, Jim? Oh, he's the greatest you've ever seen because you were suspended for what the team did, stealing sign stealing scandal, Jim Harbaugh. And then J.J. McCarthy won without you, Jim, because you were not coaching. You were suspended. And now Harbaugh is paying back J.J. McCarthy, saying it's the greatest workout of all time. So today mock drafts have J.J. McCarthy going 4 or 6. Number 4 to Minnesota, trading up the picks 11 and 18 to get to 4. Or the Giants at number 6 going, holy crap, we were stupid enough to give Daniel Jones $80 million over 2 years. We're on the hook for 40 this year. We'll let him play, but we want J.J. McCarthy in the wings. So that's why we're getting all of this Michael Penix Jr. So I called my buddy Softy Meller up in Seattle. I talked to another buddy of mine who's been on the board at the University of Washington in a capacity. Half-hour conversations on Penix Jr. They all love him. Say he's great. He's not injured. Stop with the injuries. He was injured. He's not injured anymore. He's healthy. Did you see him run the 40? Did you see the bombs? Did you see the throws to Rome Odunze? Why do you think Rome Odunze from Bishop Gorman to my left, about 2 miles, why do you think Rome Odunze might go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Because Michael Penix Jr. threw him beautiful back shoulder bombs, and he caught them all. So you're going to have two guys going in probably the top 13 picks. So as of today, as I wrap up the week, and as Kevin Turner says on the live stream, what's the wild rumor about Dak Prescott to the Raiders? Should the Raiders go big? I like Dak. I love Dak, too. I like everybody. I wanted Aaron Rodgers here. I wanted Tom Brady here. I like all the big guys when they get here. Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't my first choice, I want to get Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Thank God I put that on the record before they took Jimmy G. I did. I welcomed Jimmy G. I did a shot at tequila with Jimmy G. I did a shot at tequila with Jimmy G as all the women of Summerlin was swooning trying to get an autograph with him. Me and Jimmy G did a shot at tequila. I like Jimmy G, but I like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Jaden Daniels more. Okay, so I know what I want. I just don't know if I can get it. So you got Harbaugh blowing smoke. You got the Dak Prescott rumors now. Would you give up a couple of first? Remember, you got to pay Dak. And Jerry Jones is not going to pay Dak, which is fine. Not going to pay him. Doesn't look like he's going to pay him now. That could change. So with all this happening now, we're looking at a scenario where Dak Prescott, yeah, he could be available to the Raiders in a blockbuster deal if Jerry doesn't want him. Last I looked, Jerry was all in on winning the Super Bowl last year. All the guys are coming back pretty much, other than Tony Pollard. A couple of players there. I think Jerry's team is built to go to the Super Bowl again. I love the Cowboys last year. I love the Bills 2 years ago. How's the Bills looking now? And with their window of opportunity, it looks like it's closing a little bit. So there's just a bunch of wild rumors out there. People just coming up with rumors because they got to fill time. And when you got to fill time, you got to fill time. And the quarterbacks, they're the glamour pick. And the Raiders are on the clock at 13. If on this Friday, the Raiders select Michael Penix Jr. at 13, I am more than fine with that. I'd love to get him in the second round. He will not exist in the second round. I would like to trade back and get him. We trade back. He will not be there for us later on. It would be a miracle if he was. So just come to the point where we're all going to have to get on the same page in 2 weeks and try to figure out who's going to be the quarterback for the Raiders. All of them sound pretty good. Here are your options. Here are your realistic options to start at quarterback for the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell, 1. Gardner Minshew, 2. Jaden Daniels, 3. Michael Penix Jr., 4. Okay, though that's my wants and needs. Again, can we go through that? So when they clip this and they put it up on these Raider websites and JT the Brick guaranteed, I didn't guarantee anything. I just tell you what I think would be the best opportunities for the Raiders in this order today. Today, who's going to start that first game? Aiden O'Connell, 1. Gardner Minshew, 2. Jaden Daniels, 3. Michael Penix Jr., 4. And that could change by Tuesday. That could change by Tuesday if that happens there. So that's what I think. What do you think? And we're ready to roll here if you want to get through 702-365-9200. Next hour, I'm going to talk about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's playing basketball tonight against UConn. I'm not a TV executive, but the first rating for the LSU UConn game got 12.3 million. Blew away NBA games with Steph Curry, baseball games with Bryce Harper and Shohei Ohtani. Okay, the world champion Denver Nuggets had 1 million people watch their game, 1 million. Caitlin Clark had 12 million. So I don't know what you're doing tonight at 6 o'clock Pacific time, but if I were you, I'd get in front of that TV. That is must-see television tonight, and I'm all for it. I love the fact when women excel in sports and the fact that Caitlin Clark is bringing that many people to the table. The closest thing we've seen since Caitlin Clark was Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift was much bigger than Caitlin Clark. But isn't it amazing, guys, what women can do when you empower them? Taylor Swift now moves the needle in the NFL where she's selling more jerseys than any quarterback who's ever played. And Caitlin Clark is bringing more eyeballs to basketball than LeBron James and Steph Curry combined. I can't believe it. It's absolutely unbelievable what's happening here. Golden Knights, I think, have stabilized. I went and saw some hockey last night at City National. Another thing I'll talk about next hour. One of my buddies was in town with his brother and his nephew's playing. He's going to Harvard, a kid named Drake Murray, and they had the 18U National Championship, the Stanley Cup for 18U prep schools. So I went to City National last night and sat in the crowd and watched some fantastic hockey with kids who are going to Harvard. This kid I watch is going to Harvard. Other kids going to Yale, Michigan, Boston College. So that was a lot of fun last night. Enjoyed that. And then this weekend should be good. I'm going to golf on Saturday, and I'm going to watch a lot of basketball and the Final Four. The men's Final Four is an afterthought to the women's. It is. I can't believe it. If we get a women's national championship with South Carolina and Caitlin Clark, forget about it. Just load up the Brinks truck and give all the money to Caitlin Clark and sprinkle a little bit to South Carolina. A little bit. Don't tell me people are going to watch South Carolina play. No, they're going to watch Caitlin Clark play. That's a huge storyline. Love the way the Golden Knights are playing going forward. And I think we have I'm going to play the soundbite later. I always tell everybody this is not the flagship of the A's, but John Fisher, the owner of the A's, basically said in Sacramento in front of human beings that he can't wait to see Aaron Judge of the Yankees hit home runs in Sacramento. Oh my God. Oh my God. He actually said that. So I'm telling you, this is a big thing, and we'll dive into it. But my first guest is from our lads, and I love our lads. I've been having that. I'm going to talk to him in a second here. We got a really good mock draft guy coming in a second, and we'll dive into what the Raiders can do and all that. And then gambling this weekend and fun, and then next weekend is the Masters, a tradition like any other as we get rolling. Countdown to the Raiders. Your opinion on what the Silver and Black are going to do. And how do you feel this week about all the Michael Penix Jr. coverage? Did anybody watch anything different? Anybody see anything in the film on him? Recall something? My son saw him play 3 times live this year at the Apple Cup. Saw him play, obviously, the game here, the Pac 12 championship. And I think he saw the USC game. So he saw him live 3 times. And, he had opinions on him, some good opinions here. But a lot of people do not believe that Michael Penix Jr. is worthy of the 13th pick overall. I don't think he's an ideal 13th pick. I think he'd be a great pick like Derek Carr, top of the second round. But, more people want Michael Penix Jr. than ever wanted Derek Carr when Derek Carr came out of Fresno State, a really good quarterback. A quarterback who's done a nice job in this league and is still a starting quarterback in this league. When you're thinking about injuries, it's a tough pick. David Syverston, kind enough to join us from Our Lads Scouting. David, I appreciate a few minutes. I love Our Lads. Give my best to Dan Shanka and everybody over there. Let's start off with Michael Penix Jr. Have you changed your opinion on him over the last week or two, considering what's happening in a lot of mock drafts? That's fair, and I think that's important that you said that about him because I don't think his intermediate passing game is his strength. But why? How can a guy who throws such a good deep ball and has amazing touch, and I mentioned before you came on all the touchdowns he threw to Roma Dunze and how he threw him open. Can't that be coached up? Can't you get the guy in the building there and teach him, just how to have more touch on the intermediate pass or the screen pass? Is it that glaring when you look at Michael Penix Jr. on film? Mm, mm, yeah. Well, I would agree with that. I think if you draft a quarterback number all at 13, and you need a right tackle more, no doubt about it. But the last thing on this one, if the Raiders need a quarterback and they want a franchise quarterback, is it worth waiting till next year? I mean, I think with Max Crosby and Devontae Adams, those guys don't want to wait, and they got Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Are you more confident with the play of Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell over reaching on a quarterback draft pick? Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Got it. All right, David Iverson, kind enough to join us. The great work from our lads. I don't think I heard Kurt. You didn't mention Tyree Wilson, I believe, who was the seventh pick overall in the draft last year. Seven overall. Imagine if the Raiders had seven. They took a medically injured player last year to be an elite pass rusher, and now look like they got to move him inside or put him in some type of rotation. So I would just push back that I think with him there, along with the emergence of Kuntz, and Wilkinson, when you look at him and Max Crosby, I don't think that's a weakness to them, but I love what you're saying. You're saying it not only make it a strength, it is a strength, make it a dominant strength, and that might flip some football games. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It was great analysis. This is absolutely what we needed to hear on Friday about Michael Penix Jr. One more thing on the quarterbacks, David. Do you believe that the rush is on? Is there anybody who's going to be able to trade up and get Jaden Daniels at 2 or 3? I mean, what are you hearing on the inside? Because I thought Caleb Williams would require 3 first-round picks, and then Jaden Daniels or Drake May would be 2 first-round picks and maybe a third and a player. What does your board say? Because there's highly rated receivers and tackles like Joe Alt. What would it take to get up to 2 or 3 to get Jaden Daniels for Las Vegas? Mm, 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 mm. Mm-hmm. Last one. Where do you think we'll see J.J. McCarthy go? This is fascinating. I think Harbaugh's blowing smoke because he wants the first pick in the draft at 5. He wants the first pick to start with him after 4 quarterbacks go, and he is really pumping up J.J. McCarthy, who helped them win a national championship. Mhm. Ooh. Wow. Great, David. You were fantastic. I know you would be. Tell everybody how they could get the Our Lads Guide. I've had it for every draft pretty much I've ever done. It's my go to, it's my Bible for the draft. I love it here. Where do we get it? Mm, mm. Yep. Mm, mm. Good. Yeah, I want to have you on again after the draft to recap what the Raiders did along with stuff on my national show. So thanks a lot, David. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. All right, David Syverson, nice job there. He is not in on Penix. He's in on J.J. McCarthy, big on J.J. McCarthy. He says that he doesn't see him getting past number 6. Okay, that's where we're at now. These are good people. They do this for a living. This is their job. They are mock draft insiders. They put this stuff together, and the more people I talk to, the run on the quarterback is real. The run on the quarterback is real. And the one thing that hit me like a wave when he said, why would the Raiders want the 6th best quarterback, the 6th one in this draft? Good point. Very good point. I can't argue on that. You know, if you take Michael Penix Jr. and J.J. McCarthy goes 4, then Penix Jr. goes 5th, say at 13 to the Raiders. So Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. are kind of bunched together. So say it's the 5th best quarterback and it ends up being Penix. Why would we want the 5th of anything when we could have the best right tackle or the 2nd best right tackle or easily the best corner? If the Raiders want to wait to 13 and take the best corner, that's okay. I hesitate with that because I've seen from my days in Oakland dating back to 98, the Raiders have been a disaster at taking cornerbacks. I mean, there's just so many. Garyon Connolly, recently here, Damon Arnett, going back to some of the other corners that we've taken, it's very high. Michael Huff, a defensive back. You go down the list, good players, but not worthy of their pick. So if you take a cornerback at number 13, I have to be convinced he's going to start. I cannot handle another developing corner. Jacorian Bennett is a developing corner, and they took him. And I think they took him for the right reason, like they took Trey Tucker. Speed, the ability to make plays and do all that. So that's where we're at. Want to hear what you have to say here. Thanks for coming on YouTube at JT the Brick YT. I'm at home today. Bobby's doing a great job putting the show together. So we just had a good guest on. He gave you his opinion. I want to hear from Raider fans. I want to hear from Raider fans on Friday. I don't want to hear from me every bleeping second because I got to breathe and take a sip of water. Give me a Raider fan who wants Michael Penix Jr. or after that interview wants no part of him. 702-365-9200. All right, what's happening? Matt says just filling out the blanks of people who just have YouTube and have dead air. Well, I don't know what to tell you. We cannot take the commercials. We cannot carry them for legally from YouTube. So I don't know. If you don't like it, you can sign off and find another one. If you like it and you want to hear me talk, I just talked for fucking 25 minutes straight. That's why the YouTube channel's here. So if you can't hear the guest, I told you, download the mobile app. You can hear everything live and you can watch the show. And if you can't do that and wait in between, goodbye. And you can find another platform. I like this. We're a work in progress. We're trying to make everybody happy. If you're not happy and you want to hear more audio, you can listen to the radio show. That's why we did this. We wanted people to see the radio show or listening to the show. Got it? All right. So that guy did not like Michael Penix Jr. at 13 at all. At all. And I think that's okay. Yeah, that was kind of a reality check. That guy, David, he's pretty good, and he's a hard pass on Penix Jr. at 13. Sounds like he's a hard pass on Penix, period. So I didn't know that going into the interview. Doesn't really affect me big either way. So we'll see. All right, everybody hit subscribe. Hopefully you're also subscribed on my Facebook page, JT the Brick on Facebook. We got a new podcast out there today. You might want to check that out too. Thank you. All right, trying to get all my stuff in place here. There we go. Yep. What's going on? Yeah. I'll probably throw to it. Yeah, I can throw to it. Mhm. Please talk media bias against the Raiders. What do you mean by that? What's media bias, Trip? What's in bourbon whiskey? I would actually say this is the slowest NFL free agency into the draft that I can recall. I don't recall a time. There was a couple of good free agents, no doubt about it. Free agency was okay. Christian Wilkins was great, but overall, this is interesting to me. What at? A little UNLV call there on a JJ McCarthy touchdown. JT, back with you. Hope you're doing well. Opening day baseball with the Yankees. The show doesn't interrupt anything. I got that here, so I'm able to watch my Yankees on opening day, and not a good. Getting shut out at home, 1-0 by the Blue Jays in the eighth inning here. There's a lot of baseball news coming in as the first week is pretty much coming to an end here. Some teams are opening up in new ballparks and getting back home again. So big weekend in sports, I think, if you love the Final Four. The women's Final Four is bigger than the men's. The women's Final Four is bigger than the men's. I find that great. I think it's refreshing. I think a lot of people are into that. Congratulations to Caitlin Clark and all the other women who are still playing, especially the UConn women, and South Carolina, always the best team. So if you're into sports, and a lot of degenerate gamblers who never watched a women's game are going to bet. Can you imagine if Caitlin Clark got a commission for every degenerate gambler that was going to put a $20 to $100 bill on this Iowa game tonight, and her prop bets and all of it? It's amazing. She's moved the needle as much as anyone I've seen in sports in a long period of time. Gabriel is in Indio, California. He's on the flagship today. What's going on, Gabriel? I'm doing good, thank you. Appreciate it. Mhm. 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 Yeah, but he's also older. He's been playing a while. He's very mature. If you draft Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr. and they play for their rookie contract and they're good enough to bring him back for another contract, that's all you want. You want 10 years out of them, and they're young enough that you can get 10 good years out of them. That would be a rookie contract and a contract extension. The only reason you wouldn't is if they were a bust and you didn't want to get it going. So this guy turned 23 years old on May 8th. 23 years old on May 8th. So if you want a guy who's 23 with experience, who had a big year with a big arm, I'd go Michael Penix Jr. If you want someone who's super young, I'd trade up heavy to get Jaden Daniels. I'm just thinking it's going to be a little bit expensive, my friend. That's all I'm hearing. Mhm, 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 mhm. Yeah, I agree. Yep. Thanks for the. Okay, thank you. I appreciate your call. That's what we're looking to do here. I interview someone, you react to it. The guy I interviewed didn't want Michael Penix Jr. That caller did. That's really what we're trying to do here. Is try to get people's opinions. Tripp says, "Let me ask you a question. If Aiden O'Connell was a first-round pick, would anyone doubt him being the starter? People hate him because he went day 3, just like Purdy. First off, no one hates Aiden O'Connell. Everyone likes him. He's a great guy, and he went in the 4th round, and he doesn't have any mobility to the extent of the mobility of the elite, which is, I think it's Patrick Mahomes is elite. You go around the league, and Lamar Jackson's elite. You try to find the guys who have elite running speed, because the Raiders haven't had that for a while, right? Yet now you have to find a way to get it, and Jaden Daniels gives you that. If not, you go with a pocket passer in Aiden O'Connell and in Gardner Minshew, and you get him protection. You go out there and get him protection. and protection is going to be the tackle position on the right side. Black Hole is throwing the second annual Legends Party at the Ghost Bar at the Palms. This is going to be a big one. They're going to have a lot of people there. The Black Hole, it's the Legends Draft Party at Ghost Bar, brought to you by Modelo, proud partner of our show. If you're looking for a draft party, go to theblackhole.com. That's Thursday, the 25th. The Black Hole is throwing their Legends Draft Party, and it'll be over at Ghost Bar at the top, where we did a couple of events for the Bolitnikovs. Beautiful, absolute outstanding venue up there. Joe's in Vegas on 920. What's going on, Joe? Huh? 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 Well, we did, and I appreciate it. We, the season ticket holders, did shut down him, but Gardner Minshew didn't complete a pass after the first quarter. So that won't happen again. I don't think it was a fluke. I thought the Raiders were clearly better than Kansas City on Christmas Day in Kansas City. They were just fierce. Antonio Pierce had them ready to play. They would run through the locker room door for him in that game. That's the perfect storm of energy and execution. And what was it, 2 defensive touchdowns in 7 seconds? Which was a game changer there. But you'd like to have a really good defense and a quarterback that can go back and forth. Let me give you an example. Cleveland. Cleveland's got a really good defense, and they got Deshaun Watson. I know Deshaun Watson's been through a lot, but he's one of the best athletes in the league. Okay. Baltimore has a great defense usually, and Lamar Jackson. That's how you want to beat Mahomes. So I think the Raiders are putting together a nice defense to beat Mahomes and give him hell. But the offense has got to step up. And as I look at the chat and I'm talking to more people, a lot of people think that Gardner Minshew can beat Patrick Mahomes if he's got a great defense, and they're building a great defense. This Raider defense has to be top 5 this year. It's a big step for Patrick Graham, but they have the opportunity to do it. 702-365-9200 as we continue on. La Casa Cigars, where I'm going to have a stick later on today. Tivoli Village, La Casa Cigars. Okay. Next. All right, everybody. Let me jump into the chat before we wrap it up here at the top of the hour. Then I'm going to go to hour number 2 off YouTube. You can just listen to it on the Raiders mobile app. Matt says Minshew can win games on his own. Aiden can't do that yet. I think that's fair. I think Aiden O'Connell played a rookie year and a rookie year after his coach got fired. That was very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. Giuseppe says bucket of Modelo's and a stick. Nice. Ghost Bar, I'll be there. Would like to meet you. Cisco will be there. I'll be at the Raiders draft party at the Omnia. I got some work I got to do for that. I'm going to be anchoring the Raiders draft from their facility, which is always a lot of fun. So busy time, no doubt about it. Very busy. It's a weird time of year. What's everybody doing over the weekend? Anybody doing anything fun? Anybody going seeing some live music? Saw Fluker got cut today. Yeah, I didn't throw to that Rappaport, right? Okay, I'll throw to it. Okay, I'll throw to it. Okay. Someone's going to get Marvin Harrison Jr., dude. Patriots. He would be a great Patriot, man. Wow. Oh, monster truck with your grandson, Willie. That sounds like fun. Bobby, one of the guys on our chats, James Farrell, said, "Did you hear Kiss sold their music catalog? Is that true? Did that happen today? 300 million. Yeah. Wow. Is Kiss's library worth 300 million? Mhm. All right. All right. You're right. Yeah, it does. We have 3,000 subscribers now. Is that a good number? Again, I don't know this. We just started this really a month ago, 2 months ago. Is that a good number? What can we get out of 3,000? I want to get to like 10,000. How hard is it going to be? John Fisher, the owner of the A's, who was spending that going to Sacramento, is going to be good for the Oakland A's fans. So what he did was there was an opportunity for the A's to stay in the Bay Area in Oakland, but it's very embarrassing now. I don't think it doesn't work. So if you because they ran the A's down so badly, you can't play the games there anymore at the Coliseum. No one's going. Used to be some diehard A's fans would go. So you get a couple of diehard A's fans, you promote Star Wars night or root beer float night, hashtag root beer floats. They care more about root beer floats than they did players and contracts. You get 4,000 walk up. Maybe Yankees are in town, you get 15,000, and you're going to get 14,000 Yankee fans, and that's good for business. But the point I wanted to make about what John Fisher said about Sacramento is I really feel for the people that we met over the years at the Oakland Coliseum who work there, the people that park the cars, help park the cars, the people who work the East Side and West Side Club, the moms and the dads who had a second job working at the Coliseum to pay their bills and to try to stay afloat in life. And all of those days that are going to be gone, where there's going to be no baseball at the Coliseum, and it could have been an agreement for them to stay there. Obviously, it's a lame duck. They're going to be a lame duck for 3 years in Sacramento. The thing I will tell you about this is I don't know if Sacramento is going to support this or not. Sacramento is Sacramento. They're not LA. It's not San Diego. It's not San Francisco. So if you live in Sacramento, a place that I love a lot and been there a bunch, are you going to go support John Fisher as he ripped the team out of Oakland to go there? And you're going to put money in his pockets. And John Fisher doesn't need the money in his pockets. All he cares about is the revenue rights of baseball and television. And he gets that Sacramento market. But man, I was next to the ballpark here in Vegas last night. Biggest win for me, and I wouldn't have went and supported it, but would have been them being here eventually to have Major League Baseball in Summerlin at Las Vegas ballpark, but they didn't pull that off, and they'll go to Sacramento. Just a lot of people that count on those jobs that aren't going to have jobs because of those devious, awful Oakland politicians. Here's Ian Rappaport talking about Michael Penix Jr., Roma Dunze, what's going on with that Washington program heading into the draft. All right, those are two players who played for the Washington Husky program. Really good. Roma Dunze played at Bishop Gorman, was an elite player, and Michael Penix Jr. You catch that? What Ian Rappaport said is the Raiders could stay at 13 and might just have to trade up a little. Well, Denver's not going to let the Raiders jump in front of them, I don't think. I don't think the Raiders in Denver are going to do a deal between 13 and 12, and the same with Minnesota, as Minnesota wants to trade up. Hour number 2 will be radio only. Thanks to our YouTube audience that's looking at me live from the house with the brick backdrop. It's going to be a good weekend here. I got one more hour to go before we get our bucket of Modelo's going. It's going to be a good weekend out here. Caitlin Clark's on at 6 o'clock. Got a lot I want to talk about in this next hour. Another mock draft that I found today. Another mock draft that was very unique when it comes to the Raiders. And I'm going to read some of that, and we'll get that going there. And, we'll go and we'll definitely get into what's going to happen next along the way with the Raiders next week. I don't suspect anything different other than the fact that there'll be a hype train. This week, past week, was started off with J.J. McCarthy, ended with Michael Penix Jr. I don't know, maybe next week when we talk to more and more people, they're going to start telling us about the fact that the Raiders can't get a quarterback, and we're going to really zero in on the offensive linemen, the tackles, or the cornerback. I hope not. I'd rather talk quarterbacks because I want people to turn the radio on, not off. And people listen when you say quarterback. You say quarterback, it's like a dog whistle. Quarterback, let's get one. And I think this will motivate, not that they need it, Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, as the whole world. Every mock draft guy is now saying Michael Penix Jr. or the possibility of J.J. McCarthy. JT on a Friday, one more hour to go. Appreciate everybody listening. Thanks to Resorts World. What a job they're able to do. Head on out to the Doghouse Saloon right next to the theater. Good place tonight. Matter of fact, a great place tonight to watch Caitlin Clark in Iowa versus UConn. All right, man. All right, everybody, one more hour to go. We'll be here. There'll be some type of live stream, I think, over the weekend, and we'll go big next week. Next week, we got big shows lined up. Thanks for watching the YouTube live stream. Really appreciate it. Go look at some of the others. New podcast up at JT and Looney. Appreciate a download there, and thanks for always watching and listening.